The victorious Redbirds of Illinois State are with us. They have a date tomorrow, 2:30, with the Belmont Bruins. Head coach Ryan Peaton is with us, flanked by the student body, Johnny Kinzier, Chase Walker, and Dalton Banks. We're going to ask Ryan to open up with a statement on the game just concluded, and then we'll go to questions for all of the Redbirds on the dais. Ryan, please.
Okay. A great win for us today. We knew coming in that this was going to be a dogfight. Got a great amount of respect for Missouri State, and I do want to say this off the top. When you look at their record, you're doing a complete disservice to them. You watch as a coach a lot of film and a lot of games in the league, and not once was there ever a crack, not in their demeanor, not in their body language, not in their effort. In fact, as they were losing close games, their level of play, how hard they were playing, got higher and higher. So I want to give respect to them. I think Hanzo does and his staff do a great job. That's why it was such a scary game coming in, just because their record did not match the product. And they took Drake, not just to the very end, they outplayed Drake for a good 30-some minutes of that game. So I have great respect for them. Was really pleased today with the variety of guys that stepped up. It wasn't one guy or two guys. I think Johnny got us off to a start in the first half. Ty Pence came in and gave us tremendous minutes, for the second game in a row. And, the rest of the guys kind of fed off of that. To have five guys in double figures, the guys up here on stage with me, were a big reason that we won the game today.
First question is right here on the aisle.
First off, Dalton, right before the season in your first practice, you said you sensed there's going to be something special with this team, and now you get your first Arch Madness win in 3 seasons for this team. Do you feel like this is the start of a run in St. Louis?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it before we left for St. Louis. Don't get on that bus unless you have the mindset of going to win a championship. That's the mindset, that's the mentality. Obviously very grateful to pull one out tonight. But now it's on to the next and getting prepared for Belmont.
And then Coach Pete, and we talk a lot about the scoring of everybody, but a tremendous factor tonight was Cameron Barnes providing defense and rebounding for the team. What made him earn those minutes tonight, and how pivotal was he for the team?
Yeah, so Cameron's had some good practices here, I think, number one. Secondly, it hasn't always been easy for him along the road this year. Never once have we gave up on him or thought less of him. We just kept pushing him. What enabled him to do that tonight was his attitude, his coachability, and his mindset throughout the length of our season, because there's been some games he doesn't play. So for him to come in tonight and, let's see, minutes-wise, give us 13 very valuable minutes. He was winded there, too. He's not used to playing that many minutes in a row. I thought he gave us a huge lift. He gave us a huge lift just by being sound and solid. I also forgot to mention Dalton Banks. I think Dalton Banks, a lot of times doesn't get enough credit, but his on-ball defense impacts the game every night. His leadership on the floor for us on both sides of the ball means so much to our team. And I thought tonight his floor game was tremendous. He had the poise of a senior playing in his final conference tournament. And his 8 assists, 3 turnovers, and 12 points, I think, speak to that. So very valuable, both he and Cam tonight, giving us lifts in completely different ways, but very necessary ways.
Right here in the front row, then we'll go to the second row.
I've got 2 as well. Johnny, what was the key to the last few minutes of the first half where the team kind of pulled away and got the 15-point halftime lead?
I think the main key was just defense. We were able to rally a few stops together, and that kind of pushed towards our offense. We were just making the right reads on the offensive side, touching the paint. They said 30 paint touches in the first half. We keep track of that type of stuff. So, when we're playing inside and out, it's hard to guard us, and we just got to keep up that defensive effort. And I think that's what led us to the great end of the first half.
And Chase, how would you describe the defense the team played today?
I feel like it was pretty good. We still have some areas we got to improve on, but we got the necessary stops when we needed it. And the end of the first half was big for us. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 6.54.
Coach Peden, can I get your thoughts on your first tournament win?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, this is the time of year that you want to be playing your best. Every game's different in the tournament. We've played good opponents. Last year, Evansville just outplayed us on that particular day. We didn't hit shots. It's not ever going to be easy when you get to the tournament. Like, this is an anomaly. I felt like coming in, this was going to be just a 40-minute war. So this was a little bit of an offshoot here tonight. But it's credit to our players. And I think it's also the respect that we had for Missouri State. We just played them a week and a half ago and beat them by 2. We played them in a hard-fought game about a month and a half ago back in Normal. And that was hard-fought. And then, of course, their game coming off of that was an emotional game for them this past Sunday against Drake. And I thought they played phenomenal. So we were fortunate today, but, give them credit. And I'm proud of my guys, too.
Dalton, I know you were part of the defense on Des White. What was the strategy to defend him, and what did the team do well to defend him?
Yeah, I think it's all about ball pressure. With guys like that are talented, can shoot the ball. You got to give them different looks. You got to try and make them uncomfortable. You got to play through fatigue. So I thought our guards did a really good job of getting into the ball, using our hands, making everything hard, and then. I thought our bigs did a tremendous job, too, of, being aware, calling out screens, being ready to, switch if needed. And then it was just a team effort. I thought our guys were in the right spots. The guys rotated and helped when they needed to. And that's something we've been chasing this whole year. So, it was nice to get one in the tournament. But, like these guys said, we've hopefully got a long ways to go. So it's about getting better every day and, hopefully, doing it again and repeating that performance.
So, Coach, now tomorrow's going to be Belmont. What different challenges do they provide compared to Missouri State?
Yeah, they're a completely different team. We're going to have to be better tomorrow. There's no question. Belmont is a prolific offensive team. We know them well. They know us well at this point in the year. It's going to be about competitive will for 40 minutes and who can execute their game plan. When you play Belmont, your defense is non-negotiable. So we'll have to be even better tomorrow, but it'll be a great challenge for us. And we've had call it what it is. We've had 2 games that have come down to the final shot against them this year, and should be another great matchup tomorrow afternoon.
Stay right here. Yes, thank you.
Dalton, what's the mindset like for you knowing it's your last tournament here?
Yeah, I try not to think about it. I've played in the Valley for 5 years now, and having the opportunity to play in the Enterprise Center, it's been awesome. I think this is one of the best conference tournaments, regardless of division, class, whatever, in the entire country. So, it's always a special opportunity to go out there and compete, and especially with a team like this, guys that I care for so much, 1 through 15, and. I try to use that as fuel, out there. When I think I might be a little tired, I'm not. I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my career. And I've tried to inspire the guys to all play with that mentality because we're so close and we love each other so much. We're just fighting for another day together.
Anything else for the Redbirds? All right, gentlemen, you're excused. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
Good luck
everyone.
tomorrow.
Thank you.